He never expected you to leave. He expected you to stay, no matter how little he gave, no matter how much it hurt, no matter how heavy it felt, to keep choosing someone who barely chose you back. He thought your love was guaranteed. He thought your heart was permanent. He thought your patience was endless. And that's exactly why he took you for granted. Not because you weren't valuable, but because he assumed you'd never value yourself enough to walk away. He didn't realize you were paying attention. He didn't realize you felt every shift, every delayed reply, every broken promise, every moment he pulled away and expected you to pull harder. He didn't realize silence speaks, distance speaks, patterns speak, and eventually your heart listens. You started to notice how unbalanced it all felt, how you were the one reaching out, you were the one showing up, you were the one fixing things, you were the one keeping the connection alive. He didn't see it, not because it wasn't obvious, but because he was comfortable. Comfortable with you caring more, comfortable with you trying harder, comfortable with you carrying the weight he never intended to lift. He thought effort was optional because he thought your presence was certain. He thought he could disappear and you'd understand. He thought he could take and you'd keep giving. He thought he could hurt you and you'd heal yourself just to stay available for him again. But something changed. Not suddenly, not loudly, quietly. In the moments he assumed you weren't paying attention, you saw yourself shrinking. You saw your needs disappearing. You saw your love becoming one-sided. You saw yourself waiting for someone who wasn't even trying. And something inside you whispered, "This isn't love. This is self-abandonment." That whisper became a truth you could no longer ignore, a truth that rewired you from the inside. You started choosing yourself, not out of anger, out of clarity. You stopped chasing. You stopped pleading. You stopped bending. You stopped explaining. You started observing. And what you saw was a man who wanted the benefits of you without doing the work for you. He didn't notice your shift at first because he didn't think you'd ever shift. He didn't notice you becoming quieter. He didn't notice you becoming detached. He didn't notice you giving less. He didn't notice you no longer fighting for things he never fought for. He didn't notice because he wasn't paying attention. He only noticed when it threatened his comfort. That's how he realized something was different. You stopped reacting. You stopped overgiving. You stopped over-explaining. You stopped trying to fix things. You didn't break. You weren't cold. You were just done. Done accepting the bare minimum. Done loving someone who gave you uncertainty. Done proving your worth to someone who refused to see it. And that's when it hit him. You were slipping away. Not dramatically, not emotionally, but quietly. The kind of quiet that happens right before someone leaves for good. He thought you'd never walk away. So he gave you just enough to keep you close, but never enough to make you feel secure. He breadcrumbed you. He kept you hopeful. He kept you emotionally available, while he stayed emotionally unavailable. And he believed you'd accept it forever. But he miscalculated one thing. You never needed him. You loved him. And there's a difference. Once a woman realizes she doesn't need someone who keeps hurting her, she becomes unstoppable. You reach that point, quietly, gracefully, with your dignity intact. You didn't walk away to teach him a lesson. You walked away because you finally learned yours. A lesson in self-worth. A lesson in emotional maturity. A lesson in recognizing what love feels like and what it doesn't. You didn't leave because you were weak. You left because you were finally strong enough to stop betraying yourself. What he didn't understand is that loyalty isn't proven by how much pain someone can tolerate. Loyalty is proven by how much care someone shows to the heart that loves them. and he showed you very little. He thought having access to you was his right. He thought your support would always be there. He thought your love was something he could take for granted without ever risking losing it. But access to you was a privilege, one he stopped earning long before you finally walked away. Walking away wasn't an explosion. It was a quiet closing of a door that he never believed would close on him. It was choosing peace over chaos, self-worth over waiting, clarity over confusion, your heart over his comfort. And now he sees it. Now he feels it. Now he understands the difference between someone who stays because they are chosen and someone who stays because they were taken for granted. Now he sees the value he couldn't see before because now he sees it without access to you. He took your softness as something he didn't have to protect. He took your patience as something he didn't have to earn. He took your presence as something he didn't have to value. He didn't understand that the very thing he was neglecting was the thing keeping his life together. Because you weren't just there. You were the comfort. You were the consistency. You were the emotional home he kept returning to. He just didn't realize how rare that was until he lost it. He misunderstood the way you loved. He saw your gentleness and assumed you were weak. He saw your forgiveness and assumed you would always forgive. He saw your loyalty and assumed you had nowhere else to go. He didn't see the strength it took to keep showing up. He didn't see the courage it took to love through the disappointment. He didn't see the depth of everything you were giving while he was giving almost nothing. And when a man doesn't recognize value, he treats it carelessly. He takes it lightly. He gets lazy. He gets entitled. He gives less and expects more. He waits for you to do the emotional labor he refuses to do. He assumes the love you pour into him will always be available. But love is not infinite when it's one-sided. Even the strongest heart runs empty when it's constantly giving and never receiving. Even the most patient woman reaches her limit when she's constantly understanding someone who refuses to understand her. Even the most loyal soul finally breaks when loyalty becomes self-destruction. You didn't break dramatically. You didn't scream. You didn't blame. You didn't beg him to change. You simply grew. And your growth made staying impossible. You started seeing the truth behind the excuses, the truth behind the patterns, the truth behind his confusion, his distance, his inconsistency. It wasn't confusion. It was comfort. It was entitlement. It was the belief that you would never leave. You started noticing the disconnect. He wanted your love, but not the responsibility of being loved by you. He wanted your presence, but not the accountability that comes with being present for you. He wanted the benefits of having you without being the man who deserves you. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Something shifts inside you. Your heart begins to protect itself. Your soul begins to rise. Your standards begin to tighten. You stop accepting almost. You stop accepting someday. You stop accepting breadcrumbs from a man who should have been giving you the whole loaf. He didn't see the moment. You emotionally checked out. Men rarely do. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't an announcement. It was internal. A quiet breaking. A silent decision. A realization that this relationship was costing you too much. Your peace. Your confidence. Your self-worth. When a woman starts choosing herself, she stops choosing a man who doesn't choose her. You stopped explaining. You stopped overgiving. You stopped waiting for effort. That was never coming. You stopped asking for the bare minimum. And he thought you were changing, but you weren't changing. You were awakening. Awakening to your value. Awakening to what love should feel like. Awakening to the truth that you deserve more than someone who only loved you when it was convenient. And that awakening terrifies a man who thought you'd stay forever, because the moment you woke up, he lost control. He lost his comfort. He lost his easy access to you. He lost the version of you who tolerated everything just to keep the relationship alive. When you walked away, he didn't just lose you. He lost the emotional safety you brought into his life. He lost the peace you created for him. He lost the soulmate level care you gave without question. He lost the warmth no one else has ever given him so generously. And now he's left with the consequences of taking you for granted. Because men who don't value your presence always value your absence. Always. It hits them eventually. The silence, the distance, the emptiness, the lack of your energy, filling the spaces they never knew you held. He thought walking away would hurt you. He didn't expect that losing his access to you would be the thing that breaks him. Not immediately, but slowly, inevitably, deeply, because one day he will want to reach out, and the version of you who once waited will no longer exist. One day, he will feel your absence, and it will hit him harder than your presence ever did. One day, he will understand the worth of what he lost, but by then, you'll have outgrown him completely. And that is how a woman wins. Not through revenge, not through proving a point, but by growing into someone he can no longer reach. When you walked away, something profound happened. Something he never expected. Something he wasn't prepared for. You didn't break. You didn't fall apart. You didn't run back. You blossomed. Because leaving him wasn't an ending. It was a return. A return to yourself. To your softness. To your worth. To your intuition. To the version of you that existed before he drained you. The moment you let him go, your life began to breathe again. Your mind uncluttered. Your heart steadied. Your nervous system calmed. You felt the shift. The peaceful kind. The kind that comes when you finally stop negotiating your value with someone who never knew how to see it. He thought losing you would make you collapse. He thought you'd chase harder. He thought you'd try one more time. Instead, you rose. And that rise is what haunts him now. Because while you were healing, he was replaying everything. Every moment you were patient when he was careless. Every moment you showed up when he stayed distant. Every moment you loved deeply while he loved you conveniently. The contrast hits him in a way he never saw coming. He starts realizing how rare you were, how grounded, how loyal, how emotionally present, how irreplaceable your energy truly was. He starts realizing that the kind of love you offered isn't found twice. Not in this lifetime. Not in the next one. Not ever. And the irony is brutal. He thought he had time. He thought he had forever. He thought you'd always be there, waiting, hoping, forgiving. He didn't realize your love had limits. He didn't realize your heart had boundaries. He didn't realize your patience had an expiration date. He remembers your softness, your laughter, your loyalty, your steady care. He remembers the way you made life feel easier, the way your presence brought peace, the way your love held him together, even when he didn't deserve it. Now he sits in the silence he created, in the emptiness he chose, in the distance he caused. Now he feels what you felt for so long, the ache of being ignored, the sting of being taken lightly, the weight of realizing someone no longer chooses you. And slowly, it hits him. You weren't too much. He was too little. You weren't clingy. You were committed. You weren't emotional. You were invested. You weren't difficult. You simply wanted effort. He misunderstood everything. That made you a blessing. Meanwhile, you grew. You expanded. You reconnected with yourself. You healed the parts of you that once accepted as bare minimum. You rebuilt your confidence. You restored your boundaries. You reclaimed your voice. You became someone stronger because of everything you survived. And here's the part that stings him the most. He knows he can't come back to the new version of you. Not because you're angry, not because you're spiteful, but because you outgrew what made you tolerate him. He can't access you without meeting the standards you now hold. He can't reach you without matching the effort you now require. He can't have you without becoming the man he never became. And that terrifies him because deep down, he knows he's not that man. He watches your glow return, your joy return, your power return, your self-respect return. He sees you rising into the person he always knew you were, but never appreciated when he had the chance. And with every step forward you take, he realizes another truth he never wanted to face. He didn't lose you. He lost the chance to grow with you. He lost the chance to be chosen by you again. He lost the version of himself you believed he could become. He lost the future you were willing to build. And the future you're building now, he's not part of it. Not even in the background. Not even in the memories. Not even in the what-ifs. Because the new you has no desire to return to the person who required you to abandon yourself. Your walk away wasn't a rejection of him. It was a return to your worth, a return to your power. And nothing is more unforgettable than a woman who chooses herself after being taken for granted. When you finally walk away, something shifts in a way he never expected. Because he didn't just lose you, he lost the emotional home he took for granted. He lost the softness he assumed would always be there. He lost the comfort he never appreciated until it vanished. And this is the moment that hits him the hardest. Not the silence, not the distance, not the absence, but the sudden realization that you were the one who held everything together. While he coasted, he thought you'd always stay. He counted on it. He depended on it. He built his entire comfort zone around your loyalty without ever matching it. And when you finally left, he didn't just feel the loss. He felt the collapse. Because now, there's no one to absorb his moods, no one to carry the emotional weight, no one to remind him who he is. When he feels lost, no one who genuinely cares. Without conditions, he looks around, and the world suddenly feels colder, quieter, harsher. And that's when he realizes you weren't asking for too much. You were giving too much to someone who had gotten used to taking it without ever thinking it could disappear. He replays moments you already healed from. He remembers words you no longer think about. He revisits conversations you've outgrown. He feels the weight of everything he ignored while you carried the relationship on your back. And here's the thing he never admits. He didn't think you'd find the courage to walk away. He underestimated your strength, your self-worth, your limit. He thought your love meant you'd tolerate anything. But your love was never the problem. His lack of effort was. So now, he sits with the one consequence he never prepared for. A life where you no longer show up. No more good morning texts. No more checking on his day. No more emotional care. No more reassurance. No more presence. No more you. He tries to distract himself. It doesn't work. He tries to replace you. It fails. He tries to convince himself that he's fine. He isn't. Because when you were there, he felt secure. When you were there, he felt chosen. When you were there, he felt wanted. but he didn't value any of it until he lost it. And now the ache becomes a quiet punishment, a long echo, a reminder that he mistook your loyalty for permanence. But your life begins again. You return to yourself. You rediscover your strength. You reconnect with your worth. You remember who you were before he dimmed you. And this is what makes you powerful. You didn't walk away to hurt him. You walked away to save yourself. And that is a move he never saw coming. Because the truth is simple. He thought you'd never leave, but you did. And that's the moment. His comfort turned into regret, and your pain turned into liberation.